Take your time and do your tricks. All I do is sing along. Yeah, I need you around for brighter light and firmer ground. When you believe in me, love is gonna set me free.
Good evening and good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to an exclusive interview here with my favorite guest here. I will tell you a little bit about them in a minute, but I want to say welcome back. I know we've been on a little hiatus, but we will be coming back sure enough in September the 10th. That is exactly. So, guests, I want to say thank you. Welcome to the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Golden Hammond. So we are going to be talking tonight, which is a hot topic tonight. I will say that these two here, Mr. Kelvin Young and Maria Del Carmen here, they're taking it by storm. I'm just going to say, if you want to know anything about sound healing, being a sound practitioner, you want to follow these folks here. But before we get into it, I want to actually give you a little background history of these two awesome friend of mine. So one, we have Kelvin Young. He is also co-founder of the Soul Care Love. He has been sober from alcohol and other drugs since March the 6th of 2009. Yay! He has received his recovery coaching training at the CT Community Addictions Recovery, CCAR, and his recovery support specialist, RSS certification at the Recovery University in 2011. He is also trained in international peer support and emotional CPR and eCPR. The first time that Kelvin was exposed to sound healing was during his recovery. He discovered the sounds of crystal and Tibetan singing bowls and the gongs that calmed his mind. And you will have a little taste of this. We're going to say go to the website after, but we're going to give you that little bit.
Yes.
And he went on to study sound healing with the master sound healers as Zakaya Blackburn of the Centers of Light. Now, to the partner, Miss Maria Del Carmen Rodriguez. She is a dedicated and passionate sound healer practitioner. She has a deep understanding of the transformative power of sound, which is its ability to promote healing and well-being. And that's what we want to do. I think our world needs a lot of healing and well-being today. Aside from her lived experience with the sound from childhood on the mountains of Puerto Rico and her experience in the field on the mainland, Maria Del Carmen has honed in on her skills in various sound healing modalities. It includes sound baths, sound therapy, vibrational therapy, driven by a genuine desire to help others. Maria Del Carmen combines her knowledge of sound healing techniques with a compassionate, intuitive approach to create a safe and nourishing space for clients to embark on their healing journey. I welcome you two guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. Really appreciate it. And I must say, I really love your intro. That's what's up. Yes, I love it.
Really nice and inviting.
He was over here rocking a little bit, in the backstage scene.
That's the sound. That's the sound.
Yes.
That's the sound. And that's what we need, more harmony. And people don't realize how much sound helps.
That's
Even in the profession, myself as a sound practitioner, we do this as a therapy.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of misconception that, these instruments or whatever else that we use in the modalities, people choose to believe what they want to believe. But as for you, Kelvin and Maria, you know what it can do to bring forth healing.
That's right.
Overall what we talking about, the holistic. I love the fact that we just not talking about the H, but we're talking about the holistic of the mind, the body, and the soul. So, with that approach, you guys, the first question I have, because we know you talk about the intuitive of the holistic of the mind, the body, and the soul. And if someone who may not know what this practice is, either one of you, both of you, I just want to get your perspective on what is sound healing, sound therapy.
You would like to start? Or want me to start?
You can start.
Okay, sure. Yes, absolutely. Again, thank you so much, Michelle, for this opportunity to be here to share something that we're very passionate about. To all of you, and thank you all for being here and tuning in as well. And when I think about the word sound healing, I had to go back to my teacher, or one of the many teachers and mentors that I have, Zachariah Blackburn. And he talks about sound healing being the intentional use of sound to create a vibrational environment which become the catalyst for our healing in the mental, emotional, spiritual, as well as physical aspects of our beings. So sound healing is one of those holistic healing modalities that touches all aspects of who we are, because I believe we're more than just our physical bodies. There's a mental, there's emotional, and there's a spiritual essence that makes up the totality of who we are. And, when we think about healing, the word healing itself, it derived from the word of wholeness. So, when we think about sound healing, we're using sound to really bring us back into the wholeness of who we are. And when we dive deeper into that word wholeness, we get to the word holiness. And that's when we get really tap into that divine spark, that love and divine energy that dwells inside of us, that essence, our true essence. And when we take time to listen, to just be still and go within, we could tap into that divine spark. We could tap into our intuition. We could tap into that inner healer and our inner GPS to help us to navigate in a way that works best for us. So sound healing is really just recognizing our wholeness, allowing sound to take us inward, and just to be mindful of our inner landscape, our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts, and allowing us to look at all of that in a very loving, compassionate, and non-judgmental way. Because sounds are sacred. Sacred sounds, the tools that we utilize, such as the Himalayan singer bowl or the crystal bowls or the chime or the gong, or all the tools or sacred instrument that we utilize, these are very sacred instruments. And when we utilize them with the intention of really bringing about healing and relaxation and inner peace and transformation, it can have a very profound effect on our whole aspects of who we are, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, as well as physically.
That's so true. Maria, you want to chime on in?
Absolutely. I think, sound healing has become a buzzword. And many people are being curious about what it is, and many people are utilizing it respectfully for the purpose of healing and to go from within. But the reality is that everybody knows about sound healing. They've always known about sound healing. We love music, and most people know music. They can turn on the radio. For myself, I can turn on a radio, as I always say, and a song can come on and it'll bring me back to prom. That's an emotional, I know what dress I wore. I had a really great time. We all know how sound affects us. We could, there could be a fire truck outside of our home that goes by. We don't jump up for joy. We know that sound, somebody's in danger, right? On the flip side, there could be an ice cream truck that drives by, right? And that brings a smile to our face, right? And so sound has always been part of our lives, one way or the other. We understand what sound is and how profound it can, make us travel. Sound can make us cry, can remind us of a loved one, right? Or it can crack us up, because when that song came on, I remember I fell or something. So we know what sound and how important sound is. The difference here is that these particular sounds, they utilizing these tools is not like your regular instruments used at, at the symphony or at a rock concert.
Mm.
These tools are the pitches, the frequencies, the harmonies that it gives. It penetrates down to your cellular level.
Mhm.
So
Ooh.
this is where it's electrifying. It's like fireworks, like the 4th of July happens inside of us, because those are the areas that we pack away and pretend that they're not there, because we have life, right? We have our kids to raise, we have, a household, we have, we're students, we have to take care of our spouse, or, vice versa. And, sometimes we're taking care of our parents or loved one, whatever.
Mhm.
But we pack it away. But these particular sounds, it awakens that, and it reminds us of all of those unprocessed traumas that needs to be processed. So sound healing, it's healing because let's not pack it away. Let's bring it out, right? Let's go through the emotions, because during the practice, people go through their emotions. You might, your neighbor, laying beside you, they might be tearing. You might hear them tear, or you might hear them laugh, because that's a form of, release, or you might hear them snore. It doesn't matter, depending on which brainwave they're in. But that's just a form of release. So sound healing, although people are really curious, but at the end of the day, we all know what it is. We all
Right.
know what it is. We all know what it is.
So you guys can't see, but I have a question that came in, and I want to say welcome April, welcome Lynn, and welcome Anna Cruz. I appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight. You will have a special treat here in a minute. So Lynn asked the question, and you touched on it. I was like, man, I've just seen my hands going up. So Lynn has a question. Lynn had the question is music healing because of the frequency and vibrations created? The answer is
yes.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Everything. And this is just a little basic, but I will say that I actually teach about the frequencies, because I think people really need to understand what the frequencies are. And there are some that's essential to produce healing for different effects. But we're gonna have these guys come back on again, and we're gonna have to tag team on this, because we have this is a little basic touch for just to get it out there, to produce, because there are some misconceptions. Again, as you said, transformative. What we do as sound practitioners is transformative. We bring forth healing. I often go to the realm of, I always talk about Saul, and I always talk about David, because we have some people who are in the Christian realm, and I'm not knocking no one's religion. I'm just giving us facts about sound. Basically, like you said, Maria, sound has been around all a while. Why do you think it's the sound and the vibrations when we're in our mother's womb that happens? How do you know when that baby knows when a mom's voice? It's because of the sound. That's all about the vibrations, the fluid, the water. And what I always tell people about when we're talking about the sound with David and Saul is, was it not the frequency of the layer that he used, that whatever that spirit that was within him, it was released. So a lot of times in our bodies, we have stored a lot of stuff. And with these practices, it can be transformative. I know for me, as being throwing the work that I do and counseling and, bring it forth, that's what we're talking about. So what are the benefits that clients can benefit from in a sound healing session, especially with the sound bowls, as you said, the chimes, or the ocean drums? I know those are some of the things that you guys use as well.
Yeah, there's so many different benefits associated with all the different tools or instruments that you utilize. Science is catching up to what our ancestors already knew when we work with sound. But I do want to just share that, sound can heal, but sound can also harm as well too. It all depends on our attention, and also depends on on the sounds that we use and how we use in sound. So therefore, we have to be mindful of how we use sound and how we work with sound for it to have a very therapeutic and healing effect. And the meditative sounds that we utilize during our sound healing sessions, our individual sessions, as well as our community group sessions, they promote healing from chronic stress, muscle tension, physical pain that we feel in our bodies, feelings of anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress, sleep issues, and different other stress-related chronic health conditions that we experience in our lives. All those different types of emotional distresses that I just named was the main reason why I reached for alcohol and marijuana and cocaine and heroin and prescription opioids in the first place. And even though those drugs gave me a temporary sense of relief, it really did. But for me and many people like myself, it caused more negative consequences at the end. And that's why, it's so important for us to find healthier tools, alternatives to help us to deal with some of the emotional distresses like anxiety, depression, PTSD, all these different other types of emotional distresses that we reach for something outside of ourselves to give us that temporary sense of relief. And sound healing is one of many tools that we can utilize to help us to do just that. And the power of the sounds, the instruments that you just named, like the crystal bowls, the crystal singing bowls, is very activating. So, someone dealing with depression or depressive states or sense of sadness, playing the crystal bowls and using our intention along with the vibrations and frequencies, it can equal the healing. And for me, also healing is coming from a place that you don't want to be to the place that you do want to be and recognizing your wholeness. So if I'm feeling in a very sad or depressed state and I play the crystal bowl with the intention of releasing that energy of depression or sadness, and it can release that. And how crystal bowls are very activated. So it can bring us from that very intense, sad state up a little bit more higher. So if somebody feeling anxious, I could use the Himalayan singing bowl. That really is more grounding. So the Himalayan bowls can really bring us back down, back into our bodies, back into the earth, so to speak. And the crystal chimes that we utilize, the Kushi chimes, they're very soothing. Oftentimes when people hear the crystal chimes, it reminds them of childhood or just a remembrance of being young. So it's a very soothing sound for many people as well too. And the ocean drum is another sound that's very grounded for us as well too. It helps us to get back into our bodies. So it depends on the different types of ailments or conditions that people are dealing with. We know how to be intentional with working with the sounds. But there's many studies to show the efficacy, the benefits of the tools that we utilize during our sound healing session.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, go ahead, Maria.
Yes, and after it never fails, because after every session, many people were wowed by one instrument versus the other. Mm-hmm. You could have 5 people in the room and one person would loves the ocean drum. The other one will say, well, that sounded just like a big old fan, so everyone receives it differently. Mm-hmm. Each tool is received differently and it will work for them differently. So sometimes depending on the tool, the feedback is, I had it could be mentally, emotionally, and or physically. Many times people say, I came in with a lower back pain, but when you played XYZ tool, that really spoke to that particular area. Mm. Now, if another person came in with the same illness or, physical ailment, it may not have worked for the other person. So I think it's just receive what your individual person and or body, how it receives the sound, that in and of itself. And then for me, it's even the crystal singing bowls. I remember the first time that I heard it and I heard my friend strike the crystal bowl. I had no idea what it was. I asked, what is that special bowl behind you? And I didn't know. But when she struck it, I immediately, all of my insides melted. My hair stood up and I yelled. I said, I know exactly what that bowl is for. Or, I know where's it from. That is the exact sound of a mountain. You know, that is the exact sound of a mountain. Back home, that is home right there. So, you know, it was one of the reasons, you know, I really started to get into, you know, or started to uh, create my interest or enhance my interest in actual tools that is used here, because back home it would be an actual coconut, right? Or cocoa, the shell of a coconut, right? Or a shell or a rock. So depending on the area that you're in too, it's natural resources that create the exact same sounds, right? The exact same sounds. So it's, you know, it's very altering. It's not one size. My English terms are
One
sometimes
size
one
fit all.
size fit
Yeah.
all. There you go. Sometimes I just say, yes.
So it's, you know, and that goes, you know, to the questions when we talk about, you know, because you guys deal with the frequencies, you know, because we know I'll let the audience, I will share with you audience. I mean, they're going internationally, they're going in-house all around the country, doing these sessions either in groups. You know, Maria, you doing one just for the, you know, you know, you told me when we talked a couple weeks ago that you plan to do this one out of the country again with the group. And then you guys went the summertime, you went out of, you know, in the Caribbean islands. And then Calvin, you both doing your own individual sessions, group sessions, all types of ages.
Yes.
But what I love about it is how your sense of going back into the grabbing the people who really need it, like especially in the prison systems. You know, there's not enough that can be done because we know, again, they deal with traumatic things all the time. But you guys are opening up. Calvin, you're doing it. Maria, you're going back to your culture, trying to bring it in for the women, and you're doing stuff with young people. It doesn't matter. But I love the fact that you're so diverse.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you.
so diverse because,
Yeah.
again, it's through the experiences that you have encountered. Just like it captivated me. I'll share with you, artists. I'm not going to give you everything. But it captivated me because we guys are all part of the Holistic Professionals of Color. Yes, I'm going to put the plug out there for HPOC. This is this is a community that is basically for the BIPOC community to help us to heal ourselves. When we start to learn how to heal ourselves, and we're not saying that we're gods, but we know ancestrally wise. Oh, I said the word ancestrally wise. Oh boy, I might get a couple of calls after this one, but ancestrally wise, we got to go back to the original factors. It was sound, music. If it wasn't, it wouldn't got us across this water.
Right.
Still generate on music today. That's how we got relief. The old spirituals. That's how we got relief through the sounds, your voice, all of those typical things like that. We need to capture too, and don't count it robbery that, you know, it's believed to be wrong or it's from the thing. Again, it's about your intentions. We want to heal people naturally. I will say that. Amen.
Yes.
Yes. But I also think that each tool is really a representation of nature. That's all that it is.
That's all. That's all it is. That's all it is. And it's just the natural for, you know, because some people say, oh, I'm telling you, I had someone who said they was not come to my retreat because I used the sound bowls. And I'm like, it's fine. I don't need that energy there anyway. You know, good. And I'm still dinging.
And that's a, you know, a misconception or a program that many of us have received, you know, intentionally, because many people, the colonizers, they knew how powerful these modalities were, particularly from the African continent, you know, and how we use these tools, these instruments, and our sound, and even, you know, going through the Middle Passage and coming to the lands of South Carolina, Georgia, or to the Caribbeans, you know, during that transatlantic slave trade. You know, we communicated with each other in our native tongue. How we communicated, the tones that we use, the stumping of our feet, all those different types of rituals that we did during that time. You could hear it in the old spirituals, in the gospel music that it is sung in churches. Whereas, the old man, he's stumping his feet and they got the tambourine and they clapping their hands, all those things that they learned back in the motherland, and how powerful. And it's a sense of entrainment when you go to church and you hear people singing together, the call and response. They got that from us. You know what I mean? James Brown, he's known for the call and response, but like the gospel music, the call and response, how we entrain with that vibrations. And when we singing and you're in church, that's a form of entrainment within itself. And, we could feel the vibrations in the church when the drums are playing, the organ is playing, the piano's playing, the guitar is playing, the hands are clapping, the feet are stomping. That's an energy, that's a vibration. And there's a sense of entrainment where you're all connected in that. And, often Maria mentions that in sound, we are one. And when we come together in those sacred sounds, whether it's through the gospel music or the sacred sounds from the tools that we utilize, or even in Western parts of Africa, when they did the drumming and the dancing, all those different things we can train and we become one community when we in the entrainment of those vibrations and sounds and frequencies. So people have these misconceptions, and I think it's part of our role to kind of like educate people, allow them to, come to the conclusion themselves. And a lot of times, at least for myself, I had to unlearn a lot of things because I had a lot of misconceptions about these modalities too, especially living in this culture. I really thought that yoga was for privileged, rich white women because of the way it's marketed here in the United States. And I thought, meditation was for hippies and Buddhists. So, I didn't subscribe to none of that. So I didn't think it was for me. But once I was able to experience these modalities for myself and feel and reap the benefits of these tools and how it really changed the trajectory of my life, the way I see myself, the world, and the people in it, that spoke for myself. You know what I mean? Then I was like, okay, yes. But I had to unlearn a lot of things that I learned about these modalities. That it was a reason why we learned that. There's a reason why we were taught that this is witchcraft and this was evil from day one, because of the power it really truly has for us to really connect to the divine essence that dwells inside of us.
Look, I'm gonna have to do like they did on Coming to America. That boy good. That boy good. That boy good. That boy good. I had to do that. See, you just spoke it for me, because look, Anna Cruz just on here. She has a remark, and hello Angela and hello Jennifer. Angela Cruz said natural healing. I also get a lot of sound is not of God and Reiki energy healing.
Yeah,
we often get that, but again, it's about your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Did he not give you the gift of healing hands? Right. I'm just, am I wrong? Maybe I didn't went to theological school too. That's just my intention, my gift of healing of the hands. And I'm actually, and I like you said, I'll go back to you, what you said too, Calvin. When you found out these modalities, because people will say too, oh, yoga, that religion. It's not a religion. It's not a religion. It's a form of movement. And scientifically, let's get scientifically. Mm-hmm. If someone who has some nerve problems, if they do yoga, they actually can work, and it actually can help them move better. So, again, it's the misconceptions of what you have been told until you do. I always tell people, do your own research.
That's right.
That's right.
Do your own research. And I'm not saying, like, again, this is not knocking no one's religion, but sometimes you need to, like my grandmom used to tell me, he be telling you cross that pulpit. You still gotta go back and research it for yourself.
That's right. Yeah.
Because that's some of the things. If I be 100% truth on this, a lot of times we don't do that. We don't go research it ourselves. We just take account of the word. What is it saying? But me, I know my intentions is, and I will say, it's not to say it happened all the time. And those who say it does, you're lying. But I will say that a woman came to my office one day And truly, Spirit was saying to me, lay hands on her. And she'll tell this I have her talk about this testimony all the time. And because I asked her, are you a woman of faith or what, because you got to ask that question because you don't do everything. But I was led. This lady had a Lyme disease, how Lyme disease affects your body, hadn't slept in 18 hours. I did it the next day. She called back and said, I went home and I slept. And now I can go forth to it. You see what I'm saying? It's not to say that you use it all the time, but that was just me being the vessel.
That's right.
The willing vessel that he has gifted us with, the gifts. To use his instruments, because everything he made is good. Your intentions. We are here to educate. And, as you said, you got your healing. You are in your sobriety journey because you got effective. It helped you. Maria, you're bringing in your custom, as you said, use the natural earth bases of what you hear of the mountains, of the coconut shells. Come on. If that's the case, I'll just wait. How many of you take it to go get a seashell and go listen to it?
That's right. Yes, right. Who does that anymore? Yes. Right. And going back a little bit to what, Kelvin mentioned earlier of how we adapted or back in the motherland, but once transferred over here to the Americas and were enslaved, when we were given that break from the master, that's what they did to survive, right? It was music, it was dance. And it wasn't any type of religion, it was survival. It was the only way to exercise the brain, to move forward and to communicate, right? It was used for survival, to communicate, to speak to each other, to seek freedom, right? And so, and for me too, the thing is, when you come from elsewhere where these rituals or, modalities are practiced, and then you come, as I, here to on the mainland, particularly with me, I was really confused a little bit when in my younger years in the 70s and 80s, because I can understand if someone who didn't look like me not understand what I'm speaking of. I couldn't understand all the ones that looked like me and didn't know what I was speaking of, right? And so I'm like, well, what do you mean? So, well, what do you do? Right. So what do you do? Like, for mental clarity or whatever words I used, back then. And that's how I often say that is when I learned of the word hippie, like, oh, you're a hippie. I'm like, hippie, what's a hippie, but it's really at the end of the day, returning to the basics, and they probably weren't practicing it in those types, these holistic modalities. But, if we look back in the 70s and we would see, what was that disco show, they would come and do the soul train. Yes. Yeah. Right. Now, let's just take that. You can't tell me that in all those people that look like us in those soul train dancing, they are releasing, you know what I mean? Like it is no different. It's like they're listening to music, they're hearing the music, they're feeling the music, they're moving towards the music, and they are letting go, whether they knew then or not. That's sound healing. That is sound healing, right? Again, these tools and utilizing it under these circumstances, this context, it just takes you deeper, and that's the only difference. And that's why I say it's really, we all know this. We all know this. We just have to be retrained, rewired to understand that. By the way, this came from us to begin with. Let's just start there. Let's just start there, right?
Yeah. And you're so right. It's been marketed. Yoga, all those typical things have been marketed to people who are not of color. But now I see the essence. That's where it has started back. We can go back to ancient Kemet. before Jesus time, the Egyptian stuff before Jesus time. We look at those hieroglyphics. What do you see? You see those type of things. So it's just a part of us getting educated. And that's why I will put the plug in for HPOP. I'm telling you, if you want to learn some good stuff, this is where you need to go to learn some good stuff. So, you know, we got a few little minutes. I do. For those who are still tuned in, you can reach them. There is the website where you can look them up. That actually has some great cacao powder that they can have. I'm telling you, it's made me sleep very good here lately.
Okay. Yes. Yes. Thank you for your support. We
That's
appreciate
right.
Oh,
it.
most definitely.
Yes.
I'm all about that support now. I'm telling you, I had my little cocoa, kale. It's the real deal.
All
It's
right,
the
now.
real deal. And it's for medicinal purposes too.
That's
It's
right.
for,
Yes.
see, that's the thing. It's a benefit. You know, we out here getting the wrong chocolate, but this is the pure stuff that actually will help us in our bodies and benefit in our bodies.
That's right.
So, you know, but you know, we're about, you know, we went on through the questions so quick in a nice little easy way, but I just want the lasting of the rest of the show for you guys to give a little tune example. Now, I will tell you, go to their website. You can get some private sessions from them. I tell you, go get 20 sessions because you know what? Get 20 sessions. Help support my friends. Help support my friends here. Because I'm looking about collaboration.
That's
Maybe
right.
I'm coming to Connecticut. I want to get by that.
All right. You're more than welcome.
Right.
Yes.
Come on down.
Get by that ocean and bring my little ocean, little drum.
There you go. Yes. You're
And
not
my
too
little
far from us.
chimes. I am ready.
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe,
Yes.
hey, hint, maybe something for New Year's. I'm looking to
There
do
you
something
go.
for New
Yes.
Year's.
Something different, right?
Yeah, ring in the new year.
Yes. Literally.
There we go. Wait a minute.
Yes.
I feel that vibration. Wait a minute. Ring it in.
Yes.
So you guys, I just want you to give like some examples and show what you do in your gift, because it is a gift. It's a blessing. It's a healing modality. I truly am a firm believer in it. I'm like, when I see my clients come in all over the place, I set the mood. You know, I have to tell them, look, let's listen to this. And there's a lot of stuff on YouTube, but I tell them, listen to this and just to hear it. So you guys, you can go ahead and do a little example for the audience.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So at this time, we invite you to get into a comfortable position, whatever that may mean or look like for you. Invite you to sit up. If you're sitting in a chair, I invite you to sit up as straight as possible with both feet planted on the floor. And I invite you to either close your eyes if you choose to, or you can bring a soft gaze to the floor if you choose to. Or you can keep your eyes open, whatever feels most comfortable and safe for you. I invite you to do so at this time. And as we take this time, just a few moments to relax, reset, and to rejuvenate through the transformative powers of sound.
Ooh. Oh boy. Oh my gosh.
Just a little taste.
Yes.
That's it. Just a little taste. That's all they need.
Yes.
Because now you guys roll over to soulcarelove.llc.com and get your session. Load up, sign up for it. You will enjoy it. That was just a little taste
Yes.
of what to have that you can experience. And I'll tell you, it took me back to me as a scene with my child when they were younger with the rattles of the baby rattles with that playing. So those are joyous occasions, you know. If you feel like get back to some sound, some of us haven't had the time to even sit still. You know, your mind was racing, probably took you a minute, but just having something like that just you experience right now can make a whole transformative of your night, make you sleep well. Then you add some aromatherapy to it.
There you go.
Right.
Woo! That'd be nice. So yeah, I want to say, look, Lynn Smith says I was taken to the water.
Yeah.
Gina said, hey Gina. Gina said, definitely the water.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's refreshing. And that's what we do as sound practitioners. We bring the refreshing, the transformative power of sound that can help alleviate and heal. So that's what we want to do. And again, Calvin and Maria, I thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you
us.
so much.
Do you have any events that's coming up? You know, we might have to take a whole busload. I got a whole couple people I need to bring to Connecticut, but
yes, feel free. Just check out our website, and have all the upcoming group sessions coming up, and we also have virtual sessions as well too that we can connect with people internationally, and we also have recorded sound baths that people could download to their device, whether their phone or their computer, and they can listen to 25 minutes of just sacred sounds to bring them back home, back into homeostasis, back into balance. And like you mentioned, we also have an 8-ounce bag of cacao for purchase as well. It's considered a superfood. It has all the yummy ingredients, the nutrients, the antioxidants that our body needs to thrive. And so feel free to check out our website, www.soulcarelovellc.com.
And also soon we will be offering the certification for sound healing through HPOC as well. So please visit, the website for more information on when that will be released as well. And I will also encourage anyone, wherever you live, whichever state you're in, if you haven't experienced a live sound healing, find one in your local area, and sign up for one just out of curiosity, perhaps. Online is great. Downloading is wonderful, but nothing replaces it in being in person. So I would, always encourage anyone to also just at minimum once just experience it, and maybe try a couple individuals too, because not everyone is, everyone's got their own task or their own way, their own flavors, their own flavor. Yes. So I would just continue to do the research, right, Michelle? Do your own research.
Do your research. I'm telling you, do your research. Don't be listening to everything. Do your research. But there is science back behind this as well. It's a mind, body, soul connection. So
it is.
It's a whole mind, body, soul connection. Because again, you talk about that water. We are 80% water. And what happens with water when it hears vibrational sound? That's a whole nother thing. Masoro Amuto, they don't even want to know about that one. I'm talking over the head with that one, but do your research of how vibrations can change the water pattern. Even it can charge your water to make you feel better, make your cells prepare. So this is just a little taste. I'm going to have to come back. We might have to have a little workshop.
Hey, we can do it. Yes.
A little workshop on this. But
absolutely.
Again, Calvin and Maria, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jess, for tuning in tonight. Yes. Again, this was a special exclusive because, again, Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul has been on a hiatus. We have taken a break, but we're coming back September
right.
the
That's right.
10th.
Here we
Yes.
We
go.
will be coming back September the 10th, back in full throttle until the end of the year. Then we take our break because, again, we know we need to reset, rejuvenate, and then take some time for relaxation.
There you go.
I
Yes.
want to make sure that what I'm feeding you guys is going to be valuable and credible. So
Yeah.
that's what I say with that. So everyone, there's a mantra that I say every show. If you feel that you're not loved, know that you are loved here at the Upfront Mind, Body, and Soul, where I'm your host, Michelle Bolden Hammond. Until September the 10th, stay blessed, do your research, and always set an intention that will make you well holistically, mind, body, and soul.
Right.